In the stately halls of power on Parliament Hill, there are rumblings of discontent. Tensions are simmering between the Prime Minister's office and that of his finance minister over the thorny issue of economic messaging. At the center of this drama are two political heavyweights, Justin Trudeau, the charismatic but currently struggling Prime Minister, and his deputy, Chrystia Freeland, the tough and accomplished finance minister. A recent report alleged that Trudeau's team believes Freeland has fumbled communicating the government's economic plans to Canadians. This apparent rift could have profound implications for the nation's political and economic direction as it navigates turbulent global headwinds. It hints at the fault lines emerging within the once tightly knit Liberal ranks over how to steer Canada through choppy economic waters. Freeland has firmly denied any serious friction, telling me in an interview that from her perspective, there is not at all greater tension with Trudeau or his staff. She called serving as finance minister and deputy PM a privilege. But the rumblings won't go away. There's even been speculation of trying to install Mark Carney, the respected former central bank chiefs of Canada and England, as the new finance minister, with Freeland being shuffled elsewhere. For a government claiming a deft economic hand, such palace intrigue is hardly a strong vote of confidence in its managerial competence. It sends a muddled message at a time when clarity is needed to reassure Canadians grappling with soaring costs and economic anxiety. The backdrop is precarious. Though Canada has strengths like low deficits and easing inflation, growth has slowed and unemployment is up. More ominously, Trudeau's Liberal Party has trailed the opposition Conservatives by double digits for over a year, despite big spending initiatives on housing affordability. Perhaps the starkest indictment. Only 19% of Canadians see Trudeau as best able to manage economic growth, compared to 30% for the Conservatives' Pierre Poilievre, according to polling. Trudeau gave Freeland a lukewarm endorsement, praising her record without definitively backing her to stay put. The Prime Minister's office says he has full confidence in her, but the repetition of that phrase often signals the opposite in Potomac Fever translations. In fairness, Freeland may simply be a victim of forces beyond her control, like the global inflation shocks battering so many nations. It's hardly her fault that policies aimed at the right problem, housing costs, aren't yet yielding political dividends. As she told me philosophically, I think time is our friend for those solutions to gain traction. Getting to actually having the soft landing is really important for everyone. Still, her struggles reflect a broader cautiousness from the Trudeau government, an inability to sell their agenda with the flair and confidence that propelled them to power 7 years ago on a wave of dynamism. Into this breach stepped the Carney chatter. The former central banker is a politico's dream, an economic eminence with the policy street cred to take on Ottawa's harsh glare. Trudeau admitted trying for years to recruit the Liberal-aligned Carney into politics. When I asked Freeland about Carney, she warmly praised him as a fellow Albertan and noted their long ties. I think all of us are very supportive of anything he can offer, she said of his potential political future. High praise, but also perhaps a tacit acknowledgement that his arrival could hasten her own exit. The broader lesson here is how swiftly political winds can shift for any leader. Just a few years ago, Trudeau was the shining prince of progressive politics, an antidote to nativism preaching openness and tolerance on the world stage. His majority was fueled by soaring hopes for change. Today, much of that glow has faded amid struggle. The rising costs voters now prioritize have overwhelmed the government's policy response and muddied its economic messaging at an inopportune moment. While denying any major schism, Freeland's careful comments betray the tensions bubbling behind the surface in Ottawa. For a nation reliant on the government's steady economic hand to navigate this difficult passage, the optics of potential cabinet infighting project worrying uncertainty. Perhaps Carney's entrance could offer a reset, a respect economic voice to rally public confidence. More likely, however, it would merely be the latest chapter in the gradual unraveling of the Trudeau governing coalition and its lofty expectations. The fading of the Trudeau star reminds us that in politics, even the brightest lights eventually start to dim. Managing that twilight period gracefully is one of leadership's most daunting challenges.